It's been 7 months since Vane released into early access, having been in development since February 2022. We've seen a couple of major updates in this time too, 0.023 and imminently, if not already released, 0.024. Each update bringing various upgrades, fixes, optimizations and new features. But instead of looking back, in this video I thought we'd cast our minds forwards to see what Vane could become if its roadmap is achieved. Let's get into it. For this video, we'll mainly be seeing some gameplay on screen, with some occasional sprinklings in of other useful things to refer to too. So let's strap in and, first of all, have a look at the roadmap as it stands today. I will just precursor a little bit here. Obviously, this video is only going to be showing the roadmap at this moment in time, and it is subject to change. There is a link in the video description to the roadmap itself, so you can see the latest version there. Looking at the roadmap, there's lots that's already been done. New map areas like Dannemora, Chasey Highlands, Lion Mountain, some additional buildables and crafting systems, and the introduction of a tutorial to name but a few. But enough talk about the right-hand side, let's talk about the left. We can see that planned in for soon, again, no specifics here in terms of timescales, but typically things which have been in soon have featured in the updates we've seen, so we can have some confidence that this will be short to mid-term. There's a lot of exciting stuff in here, including full gamepad support, something we know the devs have put an awful lot of work and time into ahead of 0.023, but that they couldn't get done in time for that update, or for 0.024, but this will be a welcome addition when it comes. There are also multiplayer fixes which are actively being worked on too, including rubber banding and bandwidth reductions, with Jan being experienced in networking, as I covered in the most recent monthly at the top right, and his focus turning to these issues now. These will be super welcome changes too. I've explored setting up multiplayer servers, but opted against it until we've got more stability. If you're interested though, join my Discord, as I'll most likely be updating folks over there first. There are also more translations coming. Some of this work has been released already with Japanese, Russian and German, Chinese, Spanish, French and Turkish, with additional translations being prioritised based on the number of wish lists in any given country. Also coming soon, and perhaps the most exciting few things on the soon list, shanty buildables, better animals, and a weapon rewrite. Well, let's talk shanty buildables first. It's something I've seen heavily requested on Reddit and in the game's Discord too, and it is something that's seemingly a core feature for the majority of the best zombie survival games. The likes of Project Zomboid has building aspects, 7 Days to Die probably takes the crown in the genre for its building capabilities, and it also features heavily in the likes of Humanity and Surrounded. Now, the impetus here really is on the word shanty for me, so I'm not expecting a 7 Days to Die style building mechanic, most likely something more stripped back that enables players to build modest bases, but that doesn't enable characters to build things stronger than the buildings already found in the game. It also says on the ticket for this item on the roadmap that the devs want to avoid Fortnite-like tower builds, and that they want gravity to matter, so I'm really intrigued to see what they do in this space. It is funny because I do typically love building in my survival games, but I haven't yearned for it that much in Vane. Perhaps that's because it's limited to fortifications at present, or perhaps because the threat isn't currently there in the AI to make you feel as though you must fortify your base as soon as possible. Then we have the weapon rewrite, and I'm intrigued by this. We saw some of this work come through with the .38 special animations from Annie, and we've seen glimpses of the shotgun animations being worked on too. The idea from the devs being that they rewrite code here to support procedural animation. And finally, for the soon section, better animals, where there's going to be some complexity added to them, as well as the ability to tame, feed, and farm animals with additional behaviours added, and some new animals being added too, including dogs, cats, and horses. We can see here that eggs are referenced to, so it's probably a safe bet to add chickens to that list. This will no doubt add some further depth to the game and will also ensure the late games becomes more rewarding as you set yourself up for the long term. Also, the thought of dogs being added and being able to have a four-legged companion is sick, and I can't wait for that to come. DeadZedje has done a lovely job of adding a dog sidekick which you can feed, name, and direct to stay, sit, lie down, heal, and attack, to name a few. Now let's dive into later, and I don't think we'll talk to all aspects necessarily here, but let's pick some out and chat them through. Firstly, let's talk new character / zombie art and new vehicle art. These are things we've been seeing glimpses of, and that have been covered in a few of my monthly update videos, so we can see that work is progressing here. I also think that things like character and zombie art are things that I see a lot of comments about at present, be it on Reddit or in the comments sections for my videos, especially shorts, where people could be seeing the game and the zombies for the first time. Done right, which it looks like the devs are on the right track to do, I think this could pull in a lot more players to the game. Zombies are, of course, super important in a game like this, so they need to look and feel like a threat, and if they look and feel more realistic and smooth, that'll only aid immersion too. And in terms of vehicle art, this again has been requested a fair bit in the community. Currently the vehicles in the game are generic stock assets, which the devs want to replace. Additionally though, the new vehicles will be modular and will enable the player to reinforce them. More on this in the future section. Whilst on reinforcements, more base defense systems are also something that makes the later list. This includes offensive traps that prevent zombies from attacking base fortifications, sensory traps such as noisemakers, and some decoration and visibility too. One game I really enjoyed the trap aspects of was Sons of the Forest, where you could build clever little traps of varying complexity, which are effective in killing the enemies. Obviously, 7 Days to Die has a lot of different trapping options too. I'm intrigued which way the devs go here and how much focus they put on traps. It's something that I think is severely lacking in the likes of Project Zomboid, so good trapping mechanics here would be great to see. I'm also excited to see what we get in terms of additional decoration and visibility. I like games that reward base building by enabling the player to build things that they can't easily find, so we'll see what happens here. I'm also intrigued by the additional buildables and crafting systems. Chemistry workbenches, refineries, and water purifiers make the list here, but we know that illegal substances are intended to form a large part of the future economy in Vane, so it'll be interesting to see what we get here. On the notion of buildables and bases, electronics and mechanisms, and the inclusion of things like electrical or fluid brownouts and being able to get things back online for areas would be awesome too. I like the idea of the objective beyond just surviving, where you're almost trying to rebuild, something we don't see often enough in the genre. Final note for me on later is the fire systems. A good fire system can be really awesome too. Icarus is the game that comes to mind here, where if you opt to invest your time and effort into building a wonderful wooden structure, you need to look out for lightning storms, else you'll end up pretty devastated. I also think that fire spread is a needed consequence for using fire-based weapons. Throwing Molotovs is fun, but I like the idea of you having to be careful when doing so, else a stray zombie that's on fire could cause a hell of a lot of damage. Fire spread is something done well in Project Zomboid too, so it'll be interesting to see which direction the Vane devs go here. Now let's turn to the future. Well, this whole video's been looking at the future, but you get what I mean. Here we have boats, cell phones and internet, in-game lore, NPCs aggressive, NPCs friendly, reinforced metal construction tier, and vehicle fortifications. Let's go NPCs first. Again, this is something which I don't really think the genre does particularly well. NPCs are absent from Project Zomboid at present, but are planned. In 7 Days to Die they're coming, but at the moment we've just got traders really, which are static and for me don't really add much to the experience other than being a source for quests. In DeadZedje there's NPCs, but again these are either traders which act as a bit of a shop front, survivors who give you quests but that you can't create factions with, or bandits, which, well, they're bandits. They just want you to die. So when it comes to NPCs in Vane, there's not much of a playbook of what this should look like in a zombie survival game. For me, and this is a personal thing, I want NPCs to be something that I can opt in and out of interacting with. I'm not talking about turning them off in the settings, but more that if I see a group of bandits, I don't have to engage. I can find a way around and carry on with my day. In terms of friendly NPCs, if I see one in danger, then I can help if I want to, but equally if I don't fancy it, I'm not forced to. They'll help the world feel alive for sure, but I don't want to really have to manage them or be shackled to them all the time. So I'm intrigued to see what these look like in the world of Vane. One thing in the future which I wish was sooner, boats, and maybe I'm on my own here, but with some of the new locations in Loon Lake and with the island cabin on Moffat Island in Upper Chateauguay Lake, I'd love to see boats introduced sooner. Not even fully fledged powered boats necessarily, just a kayak would do, but it would be a really cool way of getting around the map that the devs have put so much effort into and would enable us to properly enjoy it in a slow-paced, chilled apocalypse way. A couple of things I'll bunch together because we can see on the tickets that there is a link, cell phones and internet, and in-game lore. The idea here being from the devs that players will be able to use cell phones to send SMS messages and make calls. In an online world, this could be really cool if implemented nicely, as will the introduction of the internet and potential for storytelling here too. Another aspect the devs say here that could be implemented is players being able to read lore messages on looted cell phones, and the in-game computers, books, newspapers will have lore and writing too. One thing I feel that I've not seen in any zombie survival game is that feeling that the zombies were actual human beings, which I feel is a bit of a shame in a sense, and unlocks storytelling potential. Vane have made some efforts here, the clothing, the ID cards, the debit cards, but imagine looting a zombie you've just killed and finding a family photo on them, or a shopping list, or a note from their partner. It's things like this that could be included in the cell phones of the zombies we kill, something that humanizes the zombies and adds some depth. From humanizing zombies to delimbing them, another and the final thing I'll focus on for future, vehicle fortification. We know, as we discussed earlier, that the devs are creating modular vehicles from the ground up that can be reinforced, but also planned is attachments and fortifications for vehicles. Viva la killing machine. I'm thinking spikes, snowplows, and I am excited. And then finally, let's look at far future, stuff we aren't going to be seeing for a while, but things which will hopefully make the game prior to full release, and here we've got some meaty goodness. Let's kick off with the theme of transport with aircraft. Yes, aircraft. The devs intend to introduce helicopters and small planes as part of the world in Vane. Struggling to get away from those pesky zombies? Well, it's much easier if you're flying. But the thought of being able to maintain aircraft and use them to get around the map is incredibly exciting and also contributes to that idea of world rebuilding. The multiplayer possibilities would be awesome too, until you realise there's no air traffic control at least. Falling back down to Earth, trains. You can get a tiny glimpse of trains in the sandbox mode in the game. This works by using a push-button style control panel on the front of the train and is very much go faster or stop. But it gives us a tiny glimpse into the possibilities. Train base, anyone? Then moving away from transport and back to power, the devs will add the ability to get power plants back online, accessing them, repairing them, and controlling them to get entire grids back online. This takes Vane from being just a zombie survival game to being a game where you can do that world rebuilding, and there's that innate objective to do so. Perhaps splitting the game into sort of distinct game loop segments for first, like loading in and having to survive, building your first base, dealing with the power and water going off, becoming self-sufficient, then building your NPC faction, expanding your base, defending, staying alive, starting to thrive, farm, then rebuilding elements for society like getting power stations back online and having to fight bandits to keep control of the power stations, all while still surviving through the apocalypse would be a hell of a game loop. It's aspirational for now, sure, but even the thought of being able to get the grid back online is a really cool one. Obviously, there's also a ticket for Champlain Valley, the complete world within Vane, stretching to 14.5 kilometres squared. It will be fully fleshed out and will encroach part of French Canada. The eastern border will be limited by Lake Champlain, with the largest city on the map being Plattsburgh. So yes, we will have a city in the final game too. Then there's other planned towns, including Chateauguay, South Haro, Cumberland Head, and Peru, so we can really get a sense of the amount of work ahead here, but also how awesome that final map area will be, and how vast it will feel too. Linking into this, another thing we can see here is quests, where NPCs will give us quests. Factions and groups of NPCs will also play an important role within the quests, with the rewards being XP and perhaps rewards from NPCs too. It feels as though quests will be a great way to authentically and organically encourage players to explore the vast world, to go to parts perhaps we've never been to before, and to discover new things. It's all such exciting stuff. And then there's a couple of other tickets here which are worth covering off too. Mod support being a key one, and something that I think is really encouraging. Some games don't seem to be too keen on making modding easy, but we can see here that the dev's intention is to make it so that mods can be supported and can be installed as easily as possible. Perhaps through Steam Workshop or similar, to make it as easy as possible for us to install mods for the game. These add a whole other level of possibilities which, if the modding community kicks off and grows, will be awesome for us as players. And then, the last thing here, and the one that I find quite intriguing, is Steam independence. Ensuring players don't have to be signed into Steam to play Vane multiplayer with a Steamless authentication method to support crossplay and reduce independence on Steam's back end. I said I find this intriguing, as this is pure speculation on my part, but I wonder if this is code for the possibility of having consoles join the Vane world. At release in the press kit, and that's release of early access, the dev said a console release was a possibility down the line. So maybe, again, pure speculation, maybe this feeds into that. What do you think? I'm keen to see in the comments down below what features you're most excited about from the roadmap. Also, if there's something that's not on the roadmap that you'd like to see. I'll be down in the comments too, chatting with you, so let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching this one. Please do like and subscribe before you go. I'll catch you on Monday for my Let's Play and on Wednesday for another video. Catch you later.